Squat belly up.
This is the game. It's cat and mouse.
Smoked a turkey.
Yes. He is down. He is freaking down.
Said he shot an absolute giant.
Fall obsession, baby.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession podcast episode. First of its kind, coming to you from the field. I am Sam Thrash with Fall Obsession, and sitting next to me in a tent right now is Nick Powell, our media production manager with Fall Obsession.
What's up?
So, we gave you guys kind of a heads up in previous week's episodes, but we're actually out here now. We're hunting.
We're doing it.
And right now we're sitting in a tent eating some lunch midday in between the morning and the afternoon hunt. Been an eventful trip, and that's what we so far, not always in a good way.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I was gonna say.
That's what we plan on getting into today. Again, the purpose of these podcasts are just to bring you guys something different, something actually from deer camp, and share with you guys firsthand our experience. Well, it's fresh on our mind and everything from out here in the deer woods. So, but first order of business, you guys know the drill. Elite Archery, go check them out. EliteArchery.com. Go to your local dealer, check out that new Cure, or even a previous year's model. Nick, you're running the Ritual from last year, and just in the last day, you've already smoked 2 pigs with it out here.
2
so
little pigs. Pretty far shots for being for a moving target, at least. One at 30 yards, one at 40. So
yeah,
and that thing was right on the money both times.
Right on the money. Elite and Slick Trick, deadly combo.
Absolutely.
Right there. Those rafting tricks did the job. So anyway, guys, if you're looking for a new bow or you're curious about Elites, we encourage you to go check them out. Again, EliteArchery.com, or go to your local dealer, shoot one, compare it to other brands, compare it to yours, and see if it's right for you. Like I always say, the biggest mistake you can make is buying a different brand of bow before you at least try an Elite. So give them that chance and go check them out wherever you got the opportunity. So, man, where do you want to start with this? Because these have been a couple of very interesting days that we've had here together.
A lot of firsts on this trip for
both
of us.
A lot of firsts. I guess we should preface this with the fact that, one, we're camping.
Yes.
That's our setup. We're not staying in a building or any sort of accommodations. We got our own thing, and we're camping. And
primitively, no electricity, no water.
And neither one of us has really done this like this before. I haven't camped since I was a little kid, and I don't remember exactly. You said you have very little experience as well.
It's been a long while.
Yeah,
for sure.
So a lot of firsts and a lot of things forgotten.
Yes, we have a list already of what we're going to bring next time.
Yes. So I guess we should start with when we got here. I came to your house. We met up. Went to Walmart to get stuff. Didn't get everything that we needed.
No. And
got out here. The weather was hot.
Yes.
It was like 85 degrees and some high humidity yesterday. It was pretty nasty. Not good deer hunting weather.
Yeah. Some would call that nice weather for being outside, but for deer hunting,
too hot. So camp getting set up was interesting.
Yep. We got here, set up camp. Well, we set up this tent that me and my wife bought years and years ago.
It's a nice tent.
10 by 16, plenty of room. And that was trial and error as well.
If you guys get a big tent, know that there are probably long rods and then shorter rods and then very short rods.
Yeah.
And try to distinguish which ones each one of those are prior to you
trying to set it up.
Trying to set them up. Yeah, exactly. So
we made it work though.
So you were able to come out here, and I know we had a podcast recording session right before you went down here for the scouting day or the orientation day, but tell us a little bit again about where we are, why we're out here, and kind of what you got to look at on your orientation day coming out here prior
So,
to.
the state of Texas has several WMAs all over the state. WMA standing for Wildlife Management Areas. And these are public land areas that they have a draw for every year that for a permit in order to hunt that WMA. So when I bought my tag online, or my license online, they have several, what they call them, e-postcard draws, and I looked up where the WMAs were that I wanted to put in for. I didn't want it to be 7 hours away to go hunt for just a few days and hunt public land. So I looked at all the ones in my area, and 2-3 hours away, and this was one of them, and I got an email that said I drew successfully. And so they have 4 date slots from the beginning of the season, when archery season starts, to I think they have 4 slots, and they're each 9 days apiece. So I got drawn for the first one, and luckily I got drawn for the first one, and now we're out here and we're doing it. Trying to do it, at least.
Nick's hunting, and I'm running camera for him.
Yep.
I'm the producer of this trip.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yep. Yeah, you bet.
Sam has gut issues.
I'm
He's
sure,
been having gut
I'm
issues.
sure that's going to come up in this podcast, but ever since we left, pretty much, my stomach has not agreed with me. And for those of you who are legitimate campers and hardcore outdoorsmen and backwoodsmen,
Yeah.
you know that the great outdoors is not always the best place to have stomach issues.
Yeah.
So,
When nature calls, it's always at the most inconvenient times.
and it's been a loud calling this week.
Yes. She's growling at us over and over again.
So we fumbled around. We got our camp set up.
Yep.
And so then we head out there. We got these hang-on or climbing stands, I guess.
Stands, yeah.
These
they're
climbing
not
stands,
hang on.
which, and the amateur in both of us is about to come out, because neither
Big
one
time.
of us had ever used climbing stands
Nope.
before.
Never even touched one.
And it's probably not, again, the best idea to wait until you're trying to get into the tree that you have
Right.
selected to hunt before you try to figure out your climbing stand. But that's pretty much what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
It took a little bit for us to find what we thought was a good spot. It was on a couple of game trails in the nearby area and some decent sign, which on public land, that's a lot of what you can do right
That's
there.
really all you have to go off
On
of.
a hunt as short as ours, there's not a whole lot of time to scout and try to pattern deer and figure out activity, so you kind of have to go just on the here and now
Right.
and what you can find. And this place is huge. This is 3,000 something acres.
It's just shy of 4.
Just shy of 4.
Yeah, so it's like 3,900 acres total, and it's all heavily wooded.
Yeah.
There's a couple of clear cuts with power lines. I think there's one with a gas pipeline that's clear cut. Like 1 or 2 open fields, and the rest of it. And these are not big fields. These are probably 100-acre fields.
Yeah.
At the most, and so the rest of it is timber, pure timber.
Yes.
And so you can't drive an ATV through it, so you can't just drive wherever you want. And so really the only way to actually the only way to see this whole place is to drive an ATV around it. And then if you want to dive a little bit deeper, the only way to do that is to walk. And you can only walk so far in a day.
You can only walk so far in a day, and it's just challenging to get a good setup, like I said, with so limited time.
Yes.
So we threw something together real quick. We fumbled around to get into our stands. It took us like 45 minutes to get both of us. We found 2 trees that were right next to each other, and it took us like 45 minutes to get into them. So
That were clean.
yeah, they were clean, because everything else has freaking the biggest poison ivy that we've ever seen.
Everything
on
around there
it.
had poison ivy everywhere. It seemed like.
Had to stay away from that. Get up in the tree. Forgot to bring the loppers with us.
Yep.
So you're up there trying to manually break all the branches off.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get a little bit above you to get a good camera angle. I don't know. How long do you think we sat there before those pigs came out?
2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours. I'll let you tell that story. It's your freaking hunt.
Well, I mean, we were just sitting there, didn't see anything the whole time. And then all of a sudden, it seems like we just hear rustling all around us. Seems like it was because we were kind of facing each other in our trees. And we heard some rustling off to the left, some rustling behind us, rustling off to the right. And then the main sound was coming from behind me.
Yeah.
And then, we both were looking to see if we could see anything. I think we saw them at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And there was probably 15 of them coming through the trees. And then they were headed, because we took the four-wheeler down a trail about 100 yards away from our stand. And they were going down that same trail. And then I guess they saw the four-wheeler because they were not going to come where they were going to come. They saw that four-wheeler, and, there's always a lead sow that's leading the pack. I guess she saw that four-wheeler and changed directions real quick, and then they started coming right for us. And then they were coming right towards you because you were facing opposite me, so they were right in front of you. But it was off to my left, and luckily I'm a right-handed shooter.
Yeah.
So off to my left was right where they needed to be. Got within about 40 yards and then stopped. I took a quick, but when they were coming, I kind of saw the path that they were coming, and I took a quick range on a tree that they were going to pass. And it was at 38 yards. So I was like, okay, they're going to pass right in front of that, and then I'll get them to stop when they pass it. And then they ended up stopping short of that tree. And then the lead sow, was kind of nudging out there. She was checking out the place, and all the little piglets were eating or were doing whatever they do. And then the lead sow went back. She started eating too. So I had a tree right in front of me. I had to kind of duck around that tree to get a good shot. And then she put her head down. I aimed it right at her temple.
Yeah.
And then squeezed off the arrow.
Yeah.
And she ended up, I think she ducked it. I think it skipped right across her nose. And we have a video of this. You guys will be able to see it. But there was one of her little piglets which the piglets are probably like 50 pounds each.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're not.
They're probably of birthing size or whatever.
Yeah.
So one of the littler ones was behind her, and it got her right through the ticker.
Right through the ticker. Right through the Boilermaker.
Yeah, and she didn't go, probably 25 yards.
She didn't go 20.
Shout out Rod Daniels.
So we knocked down that pig, and then the rest of the evening just kind of sucked.
It dragged, man.
Yeah.
We saw one buck, or I saw him. I don't even know if you saw him. Did you see him?
I got glimpses of him, but again, we're facing kind of a weird setup. You and I are facing each other, so
Right.
you could see him, but he's behind me, so it was hard for me to get a good look at him.
Yeah,
So.
and it was a small buck, real
Yeah.
young, 1.5, 2.5 years old. Give him 5 years, that buck will be a monster. Because if he's 1.5, because his main beams came out, and then he only had nubs for tines, and so if he's 1.5 and his main beams are already almost to his ears,
Yeah.
then he's gonna be a good deer in 5 years,
Hopefully he makes it that long.
hopefully.
Yeah. So, with as much trouble as we had with our setup, the thought process was we don't want to jack with this when it's dark out.
Right.
So we'll wait until the morning we'll hunt there again in the morning, and then we'll decide if we're going to keep the setup or if we're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we probably should have just gone somewhere else.
Probably.
We didn't
We
see
should've-
anything this morning.
We should have taken the one deer as a sign.
Yeah. It's just so hard, man. It's so hard, like we said earlier, to pattern and figure them out. But I'll kind of go into our camp life a little bit, and that'll lead into our decision for our sit this evening that we're about to head out on.
Yeah.
But first off, we come back to camp, and you got green hatch chili venison sausages from Cinnamon Creek that we're planning on cook up. I brought this little propane infrared grill that I have just sitting in my garage that I've never really used, which actually works really good.
It worked like a charm.
Like a charm. But we get back and we're like, we don't have any plates.
No plates. No silverware.
No. Well, we picked up. We did
get that at Walmart. First time.
We did remember the first time we went to Walmart. We did remember the silverware.
Yeah.
And we picked up like these little kind of heavier duty plastic camping utensils. You know, kind of just a set, and they're like, it was like 99 cents each or something.
It
was cheap. So we picked some of those up, but we completely forgot about plates.
Yep.
So it's not until the sausages are on the grill that we're like, oh, we don't have any plates.
Whoops.
And so we're looking around. We're like, well, Walmart's 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do here? The meat's cooking. And we look over, and you had bought for this hunt a brand new muddy tree harness.
Yep.
To sit up in the tree. And I look over, and there's your muddy tree harness box sitting over there. And I'm thinking, all right, well, we can rig something up. So I cut this box in half, basically.
Yeah.
And make 2 trays. We're staring at them right now.
Just ate lunch out of them.
Yeah, just ate lunch out of them. The funny thing is, we went to Walmart that night and we still didn't buy plates. We decided to keep using our muddy boxes.
We're gonna save $5 and not get plates and use our box plates.
They work pretty good.
They're working great.
So we got those squared away. We had to get ice the second time we went to Walmart.
Yep.
And just a bunch of other random stuff. The plate dilemma was probably a big oversight. And
we were gonna have some pork chops last night.
We were,
but
that didn't work out.
It was like 10 o'clock when we got back because we got some dry rub at Walmart that we were going to use. But it's like 10 o'clock when we got back, and we were pretty ready to crawl in our sleeping bags.
Guys, I apologize for some of these loud noises that y'all are going to hear. We're bare bones today, going back old school like we did when we first started the podcast with just the recorder. We don't have our fancy mics or anything, so every little movement inside this tent gets picked up on audio. But on that note, though, because you're talking about the pig, and I know we've talked about hog hunting and wild hogs and everything on previous podcast episodes, but guys, these things are absolutely destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you got a bunch of them out here.
We witnessed it today.
Yes.
Good
so
night.
This afternoon, after our unsuccessful morning sit, we decided to go and do a little bit of scouting, try to find a different spot for the evening, and that led to your second hog hunt of the trip.
Impromptu hog hunt.
Yeah, so Nick put on a pretty decent little stalk on this group of pigs.
How far do you think it was? 200 yards?
We probably covered 250 before you were in range.
Yeah.
So, but pigs are easy to stalk. They can't see.
Especially if they're busy doing something.
Yeah. They can't see. They're blind as a bat. They really rely on their sense of smell to protect them. And if they're in a group like they were, then they can't hear anything over their own noise. So it's very easy to, if the wind's right, to sneak up and get close to them without much difficulty.
They're super destructive because they stick their nose in the ground.
Yeah.
Looking for grub worms and other bugs underneath the topsoil. And so they're trying to dig underneath them and get those bugs and eat those grubs and stuff. So they just tear everything up.
Yeah.
Crops, they don't care what's on top. They want to get what's underneath. And so if they got their nose down, they're pretty easy to stock up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my first successful spot and stock.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we got it on camera. So, guys, be sure to go to our Facebook and I guess it's going to be on Instagram too. Probably that's your department, Sam.
Yeah, it'll be on all of our platforms and stuff.
So go check it out. It'll be up there. It'll be up there soon.
Real brute of a pig too.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, we'll share the picture with you guys. It's an absolute stud.
Yeah.
So Nick's working on a good project for you guys with some of these.
We got a couple of things I'm working on.
Hunting videos and stuff he's dishing out that he's front and center in, or somebody like him is. So,
yeah, somebody similar.
Yeah, so I know we're being very vague and very mysterious, but yeah, it's entertaining. It's a cool stalk. It's cool that you actually killed an animal, and then you and your alter ego made it very entertaining. So
What alter ego? I don't have an alter ego.
But all is to say, we started with that, and then we went on and did our scouting, and I think when we got to the backside of this place and turned down, kind of following the Trinity River, man, it was absolutely insane, the amount of damage.
Yeah.
There was a clear-cut path kind of running parallel with the river for, I don't know, probably 500-600 yards.
Yeah.
And 20 yards wide the whole time. And from one side to the other is just constant. It looked like somebody had gone through there with a garden tiller.
Yeah.
It's just churned up dirt
the
and
whole
mud.
thing.
And craters in the middle of it, some places. Just these pigs had absolutely been tearing it up, coming out of those river banks and tearing up this land. So my point that I'm trying to get at is they're a very destructive species down here. And you pretty much kill them whenever you get the chance. And when you do, you don't always use the meat. They're a varmint, is what they are down here.
There's plenty of them to go around.
Some of them you don't want to use the meat because pigs are freaking disgusting.
Yes,
So.
that's a fact.
But tell everybody about what we're looking at this evening with our
So this
our
evening,
setup there.
we, like I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of fields. We wanted something because from the beginning, when we first got here to this morning, we've been hunting really dense woods. So there are a couple of open fields in this WMA, and so tonight we are going to hunt one of those, the edge of one of those, to maybe we can see a little further instead of just 100 yards out. We can see all the way across and see them coming, hopefully.
Yeah.
We saw there's a good watering hole in the middle of it, so saw some good tracks around it, some good sign. So we're going to try and take advantage of it. But how about last night when we got home?
That was what I was going to bring up next, and kind of like this setup that we're talking about that we're going to be in tonight is probably one of the closest spots you can hunt to camp. Camp's really at the front of this place, and then you have to go down a long road before it opens up into the WMA hunting grounds. And pretty much as soon as it opens up, our setup's not that far from there right there. It's within walking distance pretty easily. Sure. But one reason that we wanted to check that out was because when we came back from Walmart for the second time last night, we pulled in, and there's a field bordering the campgrounds. It's private land, so it's not huntable for us, but it's just wide open. You can see everything. And just as we're turning the truck around, our headlights scan. Oh, sorry, dude. Guys, I don't know if you can hear it. My stomach is growling with my gut issues at the moment.
It's been doing that since we got out here.
Yes. Anyway, the headlights sweep this field that's next to our campgrounds, and there is a stud of a deer
very good
bedded in the field with a bunch of does and younger bucks around him. This was an older deer. He was a really mature 8-point buck. Very respectable deer, pretty wide.
Oh yeah.
And so that kind of led us to look closer to camp today for a spot to hunt, because we're thinking these deer are right in our lap. I mean, they're on private land. We can't hunt them right there, but they're right in our lap.
Yep.
Here close to camp, and
we can literally see where they were from where we're sitting right now inside of our tent.
Yeah. I know I've heard stories from other guys and family, and I'm sure that you guys have either had an experience yourself, but ever in part of a hunt club or a deer camp, there's always that one guy that always hunts like the road going into camp or something like that. And he's always successful. All these other guys go way back in there trying to find a monster, and he just hangs up there close.
Yep.
Gets it done every time. So I'm hoping that mentality is going to bring us some success tonight. So
I hope so. Man. Because we saw one small buck last night, and then during our sit this morning, we didn't see anything, not even a pig.
Nope.
And then we decided to go drive around, and we saw one small buck while we drove around.
Well, and you killed that second pig.
Yeah. And so, just need something to happen tonight.
It's public land, man.
Yep.
You never know, and
We need something to happen.
It's hard hunting, so, and again, guys, we're kind of newbies in this world. We're not too familiar with the whole public land thing. It's a new experience for us, and then camping, climbing tree stands, and
So
all
many
this other
firsts.
stuff. There's just, this trip is full of firsts for us.
Yeah, so if you guys have any experience, if you're listening to this and you have any experience hunting public land, go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook page, and message us, because we would love to get your advice, because this is something that I'm planning on doing every year.
Yeah.
If I can. So if you guys have any tips or tricks that you use that in your experience, holler at us, because we'd love to
Love to hear what you
use
know.
it. You know.
Yeah. That's what we're all about. We're all about sharing our knowledge and sharing our experience with others. And like I said, we're out here and we're a bunch of amateurs, but here we are podcasting from camp about it, to tell you guys about it. So hopefully you don't forget your plates.
Don't forget your thermocell either.
Yes. Oh
Don't
my
leave
gosh.
home without a thermocell, because you'll take an off shower like we did.
Which is not smart either for hunting.
No,
so.
it's not.
Well, guys, we're going to be trying to make this a thing throughout the season where it is relevant. We'll still be doing our podcast with some guests, probably from time to time, meeting up and doing the studio thing like we do normally. But when it's relevant, we're going to try to bring you guys these podcasts from the field, because it's fresh on the brain, and you can probably hear how tired we are in our voices right now, because we are freaking tired. But needless to say, we're trying to do something different and bring you guys an extra sense of realism with this. So hopefully that we're gonna have a successful trip here, and it'll be a couple of beneficial episodes for you guys. I know this is gonna be a shorter episode for this week, because we've talked about everything we really have to talk about with this hunt.
Yeah.
But our plan is, as long as we have content to do it with, is if we kill something here in the next couple hunts, on the drive home tomorrow, we'll be podcasting about those successful hunts. So
yeah,
hopefully that's going to be next week's episode. If it's not, then you guys will know that nothing came of this trip. But we're definitely hoping that's not the case. So
we hope to give you better news on the next podcast, on hopefully part 2 of this podcast.
Yes.
But if not, that's sometimes how it goes, and it'll be all right. There's always next year. But be sure to go to fallobsession.com. That is the hub. It's got all of our content on it, all kinds of videos, our flagship series, Fall Obsessed Outdoors. You can go check it out. It's got our podcast on it if you want to listen to it there. It's got recipes, articles written by our staffers, all kinds of stuff. So go there, check it out. Also follow us on social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got some awesome videos on there. And subscribe to this podcast. And also there's a place on our website. If you have any suggestions for a podcast topic, go to fallobsession.com/podcast. There's a form at the bottom where you can fill that out and fill out any topic suggestions. And with that, folks, we'll see you.
Wait. No, I have something else. You reminded me when you said give us feedback. Guys, we got some, I think in a couple weeks ago, we gave you guys some positive feedback, shared it with you guys that we had on our podcast. So we had another review
that's right.
pop
That's
up
right.
on Apple Podcasts. You guys can actually go look at this, but somebody rated our podcast and gave us a review. They gave us 5 stars, which is very kind. I think they're a little confused by this. I don't know, but I'm gonna read word for word what this review says. I'd like to share it with y'all.
Yeah.
The title for this review is Best Fashion Podcast Ever. This is easily the best fashion podcast there is. I can't say enough about this podcast. I literally schedule my week around this podcast and the new episodes. Great guests every week. Nick Powell needs some work, but everyone knows that already. I seriously can't stand the guy. I highly recommend this podcast to anyone trying to get new ideas for the latest fashions. Definitely go with Sam's advice. Pal, not so much. This podcast is fabulous.
Fabulous. Bless his heart.
So, this person is obviously a little confused as to what fall
definitely.
obsession is. But if you are looking at fashionable hunting wear, and that's my point with sharing this with you guys, go to fallobsession.com and order some of our hats and t-shirts. We got our Pronghorn Country shirt. We got our bow hunting tee. Some new hats on the market. So
and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I wear my Fall Obsession shirts all the time because they are some of the most comfortable shirts I own.
Yes. So, and this is, I'll go ahead and elaborate because transparency, and I don't want to confuse people. So the person who left this review is somebody that both Nick and I know.
Yes.
So it's not just out of the blue, but it is very humorous that he's trying to go the route he's going. So there might be a little bit more information coming on that in future episodes, but like we always do, we'll keep y'all guessing.
And we do appreciate all reviews and feedback. So if y'all want to give us a review on our podcast, please take criticism very constructively.
Absolutely. So if that means that y'all think that this episode sucked, please tell us and we'll never do it again.
But also give us 5 stars at the same time.
You don't have to do that. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to another week of Fall Obsession Podcast. And we'll catch you next week for another episode, hopefully with a deer on the ground.
Yeah. Catch you later.